Today we're going to pull some maintenance on this pressure washer. This is a Subaru A190V pressure washer. It came from Power Stroke Tools, which is Northern Tools. And so today we're going to put a new carburetor on here. This carburetor that's on here leaks like a sieve. I mean, it just floods and runs gas out, and then if it shuts off, it's hard to stop. So the first thing we're going to do is make sure our fuel is cut off. The next thing that we're going to do is take the filter off and set it to the side. And then in the bottom here, there's only 2 bolts that hold this carburetor together, this cover on here. And this is a 10mm nut, and so we'll take those off. And set those to the side. And this just slides right off. Breather hose here that fits on the back side of it. Next thing we want to do is take our spacers off. There were 2 of those. And then we'll lift the carburetor out. There is 1 connecting lever that we want to disconnect. We need to disconnect the fuel line. The fuel line is held on by a clamp on the back side, and you just need to pinch it together with a pair of pliers and slide it out of the way. Then you can get the fuel line off, and it comes off like that, just easy. And that'll help you get the carburetor off. We have removed the carburetor. All right, now that the carburetor is disassembled here and I've got the mount, next thing we'll need to do is clean these gaskets off, take them off. To replace them, they just slide right off. And you'll want to remove any residue on the back side there and clean it up. Scrape as much off of that as you can. You can probably just use your fingernails to do that. And then we'll install the new gasket, which will go on here on only one way. You can see the flat part here and the angle there that will match these on the back side. And we'll take this gasket off. Clean it up. Might have to use a razor knife. Scrape that off and then clean it real good. Use our brake cleaner to clean it. Now we're going to put on our carburetor. Remembering how it goes on. And we'll have that on there. There. And it's on. Now the carburetor slides right back on to the gasket. Make sure everything is cleaned up around it. And I think we're going to go on and replace this gas line too while we're at it. So we'll go on and take it off. And they just pop right off like such. We have our new gas line that we're going to put on, and it's a simple install here. We're going to lubricate it with a little bit of lithium grease to help it get on a little easier. in there. You want it to go all the way up to the valve itself so that it will seal off. Then you put the clamp back on. We'll do the same with the other side up next to the carburetor. Clean it up pretty good. And then put some lithium grease in it. And it slides up nicely. It just slides right up. And then the clamp slides on and the fuel line is reinstalled. Now that the carburetor gasket is installed, we'll put the choke back on. Works, and it does. I'm going to clean up the back side of the filter housing. Make sure you get all the debris out. Those are the spacers that keep it in line. And put your breather hose back on the back side. And finally, your nuts. And ensure that you're choking all is working, and it is. You have your choke and you run. We're going to clean out our filter case as best we can here. You should replace this with a new filter, but we don't have one. So we're going to use the old one. And we'll take the filter and put it back on. And it snaps on. Now what I have to do is replace this starter cord with something to use for handle. And what I've decided to do is use this piece of maple sapling that I have. I'll clean the bark off of it, cut it to size to fit on there, put a groove around it, and we'll have our pull starter without having to buy one. All right, to replace this handle, we want to pull our starter out a little bit so that we can have some slack. If you are untied, I'll just cut it off. And after we cut it off, we can take our old broke handle off, and be careful here and don't let it slip back in. You're going to have to disassemble the whole thing. So now you'll tie a knot in the end here, in this end, and pull it tight. Then you want to tie a slip knot using the slip part on the back side here, so that you have a loop. Once you have that slip knot loop, then you can take the handle that you made and put it on here and tighten it up, and it'll tighten just real fine. And there you have it. There's your improvised pull start. Now we have to move on to the spark plug. Since we're going this far, we might as well replace our spark plug. To replace it, we have to remove first the spark plug cover. And it just pulls off. We have our new spark plug here that we're going to put in it. And of course, like everything else, it's made in China too. Okay, when you're changing your spark plugs, make sure you have the correct one. It may not always be right. One may be longer than the other. What I'm going to do is clean this one up. I'm going to brush it down and get as much of the carbon off of it as we can. And what we'll do is order a new spark plug for it and put that in a little bit later, but right now we're just going to clean this one up and use what we have. Spark plug back in. And put the kiver back on. I think now we're about ready to test it and see if it works. All right, all the maintenance is done. Let's check it out and see how it works. Put it on choke. Turn our gas on. Give it just a second. We'll use our improvised starter handle. There we have it. There we have it. It's ready to go. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy this video. If you do, please like and subscribe, and have a blessed day.